Hey everybody, welcome to a Millennial's Guide to Real Estate Investing. Today I have with me Tim Macy. He is a real estate agent in San Antonio. He's been doing it for 4 years. He's flipped a couple of houses in his career. He has an Airbnb, and he also does a lot of social media with video and social media expert right here for all you other real estate agents who are looking to grow your business. Tim is the guy you want to talk to. So thanks for coming on the show, and happy to have you here. I haven't had a real estate agent yet, so it'll be cool to ask you some questions, how investors and how you work with investors, and maybe we can give some tips to other real estate agents out there.
For sure. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So first of all, tell us a little bit about your backstory, how you got started in being a real estate agent or just in real estate in general. What piqued your interest and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I was in San Antonio. I was stationed down here. I was in the Air Force. And then I got out and I knew I wanted to do something entrepreneurial, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to go get a job. I had a job for a while. I had somebody else kind of in control of my paycheck. And I was tired of that. I wanted to go make my own money. I'm not like a tech guy. I don't know how to write an app. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So, doing real estate was attractive to me because it's business. I'm a business-minded guy, and it's like the oldest business in the world, right?
Yep.
Selling real estate. So I dove in. I didn't have any sphere of influence here. I had no family and friends. So if you're an agent, you go out and, call all your friends and ask them if they know anybody thinking of buying or selling. Like that's how you generate leads. I didn't have that. And so I went heavy into the investment side of things because they don't care. As long as you bring an investor a deal, they'll work with you. And so that's how I got started, was working with investors as an agent.
Got it. Okay, cool. And then when you were first starting, how did you go about, for the investors that would reach out to you, how did you go about finding deals for them? Was it mostly you were the buyer's agent, or did you actually go and you had a buyer and then you would try to find deals for that specific client through knocking on doors? Or what were some of your marketing strategies back then?
A little bit of all of the above. I didn't really do much. We've done mailers. I didn't do a lot of that. It was really going to networking events, right?
Got it.
Meeting somebody and being good at. I think one of the most important things is you go to networking events when you're first starting out, but being able to figure out who is a legitimate person that's going to help you out, right? Because everybody says they're a millionaire and you should buy their course and everything else. But if you go to enough of those, you got to work on your radar and be able to look around the room and figure out, okay, that's a guy I should talk to. And so I did. I found one of those guys who was actively flipping a couple houses, and I was like, hey, I want to help you out. How can I help you out? How can I help you out?
Yeah.
And it's like everybody says, bring me a deal, and when I flip it, I'll give you $1,000 and I'll let you list the thing.
Yeah.
So I was getting my license. And I was like, fantastic. So I networked, and it was somebody that I met at a networking event, had a friend that needed to sell a house, right? You know what I mean? And so I connected the dots.
Yep.
I found him the deal. And then he bought that one. I was there through the whole time. I watched him make a bunch of money with the house I connected him with. And then I watched what he did. I got to go see that, he bought a house with cat pee all over the floors, and he had to rip them all out, and the smell was horrendous, and we had to paint 8 different times and do 10 different things. And, there's all sorts of stuff. So now I know that cat pee is horrible, and you want to get a bigger discount when you buy a house with cat pee.
Yeah.
So long story short, I learned a bunch. I brought the guy a deal. I got my first listing, sold it, and had one under my belt. The other thing that I did was I had some investors from Bigger Pockets. So I was on Bigger Pockets actively, which is an awesome resource. If you're not on there, you're crazy.
Yep.
Get on there. I think 80% of my business can somehow be traced back to Bigger Pockets in one way or another.
Yep.
And I found somebody that wanted to flip a house in San Antonio, and I just started making offers. I'd make 15 offers a week, and 3 of them would get a counter, right? So I'd write lowball offers, and agents would be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you wrote this." And it's like, look, who cares? You know what I mean? Don't agents romanticize how to be like a professional agent. It's like write offers. If they don't like them, they don't like them. So wrote a bunch of offers, got a couple accepted, got some flippers, some deals. Again, got to see the process, got to see people make money, got to see people lose money, got to figure out what was what. And then got to the point where, I started to get just a normal, regular real estate business running.
Got you. Yeah, I love that. And I tell everybody should be on Bigger Pockets. Everybody should be DMing every single person in their zip code who's investing in real estate, or even if they're not, because they could be, put them in your database. They could be of an asset to you in the future. Put them on your email list or follow them on Instagram, and just keep up with those people, because one out of 100 is gonna do something that you want to be a part of. So networking is the biggest thing. I go to like 2 or 3 networking events to this day, and I wish I did this 2 years ago when I was first learning. I would have learned a whole lot more just from showing up at these things and collecting business cards and keeping in touch with those people. So that's very important, especially being a real estate agent. I think that that's one of the most important things. It's just a lot about who you know and who you can reach out. When you do have a deal, you want to reach out to certain people, and the more people you have on your list, the faster and the more offers that you can get. You also said something really interesting, which is about placing 15 offers a week. Some people, when I say that I place 20 offers a month in the Bay Area or in LA, kind of say,
that's life, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. You weren't placing that much, but you validated that statement too, because the more offers that you can place, the more deals that you're going to get counted on, the more deals you're going to get. And it's all a numbers game, in my opinion, especially in San Antonio, where, if you're placing 10 offers, 15 offers a week, that's 60 offers a month. And, hopefully you're buying 1 or 2 of those deals. And, same thing here in Los Angeles or in the Bay Area. So would you recommend, for me, I invest out of state, so it's kind of hard for me to place all those offers. I need to have somebody else do it. So would you recommend for people who are investing locally to get their own license, or how do they go about finding a real estate agent like you who's going to be willing to place those low offers for 10 offers a week for that person?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it really depends on who you are. So if you're out of state, sure, you got to find a resource on the ground that's going to hustle to find you deals. The problem is, right, the biggest problem is like, I have a buyer's list. And so if I have a flip house that's a good deal, that's like a 70%, 75% deal, right, and that I can connect the buyer to, my local guys are going to be able to execute and get that deal done and pay more for it than my guy in San Francisco, right? Like, that's just life, and I have to connect the deal to the guy who's most likely going to buy it. And so there's that type of thing. So one, you want to find an agent. I mean, I have a team. I mean, we're doing a lot of transactions. I'm not writing 15 offers a week anymore. Like, that's not what I'm doing. That's what I was doing when I got started. And so what I think you're looking for is somebody that's going to hustle, that knows what they're doing, right? You don't want a brand new agent that doesn't know what they're doing. Somebody that knows what they're doing and is willing to write 15 offers a week and do the work. But also, you're not like, I know one of the things is you want to find an agent that has investment properties themselves and invest themselves, right? That's always a good thing. The problem is, if I'm a successful investor and I've got 20 rental properties and I'm doing, 50 deals a year, making whatever in GCI, I'm not going to go and try to find you an $80,000 house. Right? Like, so that caliber of person probably isn't going to help you out. So you got to find the young, well, it doesn't have to be young, but like the newer hustler that's hungry, that will put in the work, and that you are actually going to make something work. Because you know how it is. There's so many investors. It's like, write me 10 offers and they don't buy anything. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to be a legitimate buyer and then find an agent that's going to hustle for you.
And let's say I am a new agent in San Antonio and I'm looking to get started, and I live at my parents' house and I just want to make, I just want to get my first deal done. I just got my license. I'm 21 years old. Nobody trusts me with a grain of salt. What would you say? That's what I'm finding is the big, the first year of a real estate agent, 90% of the people fall off. What advice would you give to people who are in that first year, who are very young? People don't trust you with anything because you have baby face. What advice would you give those people to get started and get their first deal?
Oh, well, that's a great question. I'm going to try to put the most concise answer together. So you're familiar with the 4 boxes of flipping? or the
No.
four. So it's the acquisition, right, of the deal. It's
Okay.
finding the deal. It's the financing, right, and then there's the renovation, and then there's whatever the exit strategy is,
Okay.
right. And so as an agent, right, I usually handle acquisitions of deals, so I connect investors to deals, and I
Yep.
sell them.
Yep.
I've become, my marketing. I have all this stuff where I can sell listings for more than some other agent, and that's why investors let me sell their stuff. So you got to figure out what box you're going to specialize in. I specialize in the first in the first one and the last one.
Okay.
I let the investors finance. I mean, I have financing stuff if they want to partner, but I'm not a hard money lender, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a private money lender. So financing somebody else's box. I don't mess with renovations. Like there are investors that have teams. They're going to beat me every time.
Yeah.
So I let them do what they're good at. I focus on finding good deals and selling deals for top dollar. When you're just getting started, you should focus. If you really want to do investing, you should focus on finding deals. I mean, the first deal I got, an investor gave me a stack of postcards that were returned, right? So you send out a bunch of marketing,
Yep.
they come back, and some of those say that the houses are vacant,
Yep.
or that the person died or something. And that's where the gold is, right? Because if you go to these houses, people have a stack of mailers on their thing that they're getting, at least in my market. And so, a lot of times the leads aren't the ones that get the mailer and call you. A lot of times are the leads that the mailer comes back. You find out the house is vacant. You go to the house, you see it's vacant. You knock on the neighbor's door. This is what I did. And knock on all the neighbor's door and try to figure out what's going on with this house over here. Oh, well, Suzanne lived there for 40 years. She died 10 years ago. Her kid lives in Arizona and some other kid lives in Vermont. And I don't know what they're doing with the place, right? And then you get that and you take that down, and then you find the people that own the property and inherited the property, and then you get those people to the table, and then you don't have to be an expert, right? Because if you bring the investor to that deal, that investor is going to be able to say, oh yeah, dude, I can buy this thing for 50 grand, right? And your job is done. You added the value by finding the deal and then connecting the investor. And then from there, you start learning. Right. You start learning. Oh man, I got a title issue. How do I figure out this title issue? How do we go through probate? Who actually owns the house? That's when you get on Bigger Pockets. That's when you start listening to podcasts. That's when you start figuring out the problems. But what I see with a lot of young people trying to get started is they want the answers before they have the problem. Right? Like they want the answers before they have the problem. Go find the deal, find the house with the title issue, find all the issues, and then figure out how to answer them. But don't have this analysis paralysis thing where you feel like you need to know everything before you go start knocking on doors.
Yeah, because you're never going to know everything. And I see that a lot too. Like they just sit there for an hour and they try to figure out all the problems, and they're like, okay, I need answers to these before I start. It's like, no, send out the damn direct mail or make the phone call, and then you're going to mess up the first 100 phone calls anyway. Everybody did when they first started too. So, there's only so much that you can learn even from Bigger Pockets, even because you're not going to type in the right thing or not going to look up the right answer or not be talking to the right people. So I completely agree with you. And also, focusing on people who are in your local market already is going to give you more market knowledge and see how things work in your market. Because, if you're talking to other real estate people in San Francisco and you're in Texas, things work a whole lot differently for those different markets. So you really want to have that local knowledge.
But I got to say, I was in college for real estate development, right? And then I stopped going because I had people graduating that course that wanted to come work with me. So I was like,
oh my God.
Right. And I mean, it's more commercial based. It's more, like running the cash flow deal, like kind of the stuff that you're dealing with. I'm sure you have commercial brokerages that have employees that are running numbers. It's more of that stuff. I think I can reach my goals and be happy doing the residential stuff. I don't think I need to go there. But I was in college. I was taking my license courses, and I was learning more, like listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, right? Like I made the car my university. And so all I would do is listen to real estate podcasts, and that was it. And I was just consuming knowledge all the time. One story I have is we went to a networking event, and like I said, I had no idea what I was doing. But I've made a name for myself as somebody who knows what he's talking about. And this is how I did it. I went to a networking event, and like I said, you can hear people talking, and you can kind of hear who knows what they're talking about, who doesn't.
Yeah.
But you can also figure out the topics that people don't know anything about. And so we were sitting around and people were talking about owner financing. Everybody was like, hey, who's doing owner financing? Who's doing owner financing? And a couple people pop up and they're like, yeah, I do it. And people would talk about the interest rate. What interest rate can you charge somebody for owner financing? They're like, we charge 11%, we charge 9%. And then people were asking, well, what's Dodd-Frank compliant, right? Like, what's compliant? What can you charge? And you can tell people are like, oh, I've got a loan guy. He handles it. He says it's good. And nobody really knew the answer.
Yeah.
So I went back and I looked up Dodd-Frank online and I read Dodd-Frank. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not like, I can't interpret it perfectly.
Yeah.
But I found the spot and it says it was, holy crap. No, 6.5% over the prime rate. Anything more than that is considered usury.
Wow.
So I had the answer, right? I went up, I looked, I found the answer. So next month, same meetup, same people, same question, and I get to put my hand up and say, well, if you look in Dodd-Frank, it's actually 6.5%, anything of that's usury. And everybody turns around, they're like, holy crap, that guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Then I can go and have these conversations and people will listen to me and people will work with me and people will meet with me.
Love it.
Because I've showed that I know what I'm talking about, but I only know what I'm talking about because I made myself a real estate nerd for the last 4 years.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah, and also, it sounds like you went back to the same meetup, right?
Always, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. So that's the other thing too. Some people will go to a meetup and then they'll never go to that meetup again. But the first time, you're not going to meet everybody. The first time you may not put the best impression, but people, once you see somebody 7 times in a row, now you really know that person and you know their face. And when they see you on maybe a marketing video or, a direct mail goes to their house or, whatever the thing is, then that person's going to be more familiar with you and who you are and also be more willing and open to share with you. So, because I go to the same real estate meetups, I have one on Tuesday and one on Thursday, and I've been going every week for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And, every week I still meet somebody new and I'm learning more about, what exactly people are doing. Because the first time you go to a meetup, you're really going to get a broad stroke. But by keep going to the same meetup, you're going to learn a little bit more about each person and build some deeper connections with those people too.
Well, I will say on the flip side of that, at least in San Antonio, we're like the birthplace of the guru, right? Armando Montalongo's from San Antonio, so we get like all of that stuff. If you go to a meetup and it's like a pitch fest and it's got this kind of like you can tell it's just not where you're gonna meet people. 'Cause that's why you go to these things. You go to these things to meet people, not be sold something. So if you go to a meetup and it's like that, those are the ones you do want to skip because your time's valuable.
Yeah.
And you want to find the networking events where there's actual networking happening and find the good ones. And then, like you said, go to those ones consistently.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I have a meetup here in LA in Culver City for anybody who wants to go to it, but it's literally just a round table and nobody's allowed to pitch or bring anything. And people think that I'm trying to sell my turnkeys through it. It's like, I don't even mention that. It's more just about helping people invest in LA, or if people want to invest out of state, they can ask me questions. I bring other market experts who are, doing retail out of state or doing wholesaling or whatever, so that they can ask them certain questions too. But yeah, that's how I set up because I went to a couple meetups here. LA is the same thing. I went to a couple of meetups and it was like, okay, this guy's going to try to sell you on his, private money lending opportunity. It's like, okay, I can just, I get those enough. That's what my email's full of. I don't need to come to a networking event to just be pitched. So I'm here to meet people and stuff like that. So,
I'm glad though you brought this up because I have a meetup as well here in San Antonio, and I have my podcast, I have my show, I have a bunch of stuff that I do, and it's the same thing, right? People are like with you, they're like, oh, you're trying to sell people on your whatever, and especially for people that are just starting out, and if we're talking about millennials, one of the most valuable things you have right now is brand equity, right? And the reason you're doing the meetup is to add value. We're in the value economy, and so if you can add value to people, you can add value with no potential of getting anything back, but you're building brand equity, right? I mean, it's the Gary V thing, the jab, 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 right hook deal, but it's like, I do a meetup. We same thing. We don't sell anything. I have yet to get a deal out of my meetup. We have 200 people show up every time for the last, 6 months. And I'm not looking for it. I just know that if I can help people, it's going to pay off in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe not this year or next year, but maybe in 10 years. You never know what's going to happen. So, but it's about growing your Rolodex too and your phone book too. I mean, you got 200 more people in your phone book than you did before that meetup, right? So
it sounds super cliche, and it sounds kind of dumb, but like it was my wedding anniversary yesterday, right? And I put up a picture on Facebook, says, hey, 8 years
Sell me
married.
your house.
No, no. And it was 8 years married. I had 500 likes and almost like 200 comments
Oh my
on
God.
that picture. And it's like, what that showed me was, one, I mean, likes don't mean happiness or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And 5,000 Facebook friends don't mean they're actually your friends. But the fact that I have that big of an audience that took the time to engage with my stuff means that I have that many people that are following me that like my stuff. And the reason is because I'm not selling them all the time. I'm just trying to add value.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, there's Gary Vee and Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone all say, attention is the most important thing. And attention is, if you have 1,000 people attention, you have way more, you can do way more stuff with that than having 5 people's attention. And, those are all your family members, right? So it's whatever you can do to bring attention to yourself. And the way that you do that is by leading with value and giving value to other people. And, if you go and try to network with a bunch of other real estate agents in your area or real estate investors, and you're sharing with them exactly what you're doing, you're not hiding things or having them sign an NDA before you tell them what you're doing. Adding value first, and you guys can work together. And I think that 2 minds are way better than one, because you guys, especially if you're in the same market, you guys can test different things and do A/B testing, and then come back to the drawing board and be like, yeah, door knocking didn't work, I got or whatever, or the direct mail didn't work, and stuff like that too. So
I deal with this all the time, the whole like, oh, I don't want to give people my secrets thing, right? Like, look, all the secrets are out there, okay? Like, anybody can figure out any tactic online, but the fact is there's like 2% of people that are actually going to act on it, right? And then you take in consideration there's 5 million transactions a year, right? And so somebody else knowing your tactic is not going to stop you from doing your business. There's so much business, there's so much abundance out there. Like, the mastermind and exchanging of ideas is so powerful. If you're missing out on that because you're thinking in your head, you have a drunk monkey that's telling you that so and so is going to steal your business, you're crazy, you're missing out.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that, because first of all, the Gary Vee thing, 99% of your people are not going to do shit with whatever you say. I totally agree with it. On my Instagram, if you go there, I share every single thing that I'm doing, how I got a deal, how I'm underwriting my deals, where they came from, all the tools I'm using to, like yesterday I made one about like how, people have this thing about podcasting. They think it's some big undertaking. It's like, dude, all you need is a computer with a camera and your cell phone, and you can buy this mic for $100 and that's it. Now you have a podcast. It's not a whole lot of work. We're recording this with Skype. So look,
that's another one. I mean, you're talking about people getting started, right? Like, how do you get started? One, you figure out how to add value, but two, you could start a podcast when you're getting started and you're like, yeah, but I don't know, I'm not an expert, right?
Yeah.
That's fine. Like, I don't interview people and talk about how great I am. I'm interviewing people for selfish reasons. I'm interviewing the top agents from across the country because I want to learn from them.
Yeah.
And guess what? If you are just learning, you can make a great podcast host because you're going to ask all these questions that other people that want to learn would also ask. So
yeah, and then if you do, and even if you don't have the connections with all those high-end realtors like you do, you can also just make it the story of starting being a real estate agent in San Mateo or Sacramento or whatever the hell, and it's like, all right, guys, this week I tried this and it didn't work, but I tried this and I networked with these people, and I would recommend doing this because this has worked for me. It's it can be 10 minutes a week of you just sharing a weekly summary of what you did and how you did it, and it also may make you work a little bit harder to go and find more deals and do more stuff each week, because you're like, shit, I got to record my podcast. Exactly.
No, and the other thing too is you mentioned, like, I have a network of high profile agents across the country. I do. I mean, I turn around and look at it like, I mean, I do. I can go to any city in this country and I have these great agents that like want to hang out with me, right? And they all do more business than I do. But the thing is, what I think most people don't realize is, I mean, I just said, hey, can I interview you for my show, right? And it's amazing how few people say no. You know what I mean? So you could have a big pie. You just reach, like, you emailed me and said, hey, do you want to be on each other's show? Sure, let's do it. And so the power of asking
Yep.
is unbelievable.
Yep. Exactly. And especially if you can, like, the least way that people are getting contacted is through Instagram DM. I mean, I
Yes.
emailed you and I was kind of surprised that I emailed probably 100 or 200 podcasts.
Yeah.
But I looked at yours especially and I really like but I had, I sent an email. I was like, oh, I want to get on more podcasts and share
Yeah.
my story. And then I can just do reverse and have people on. Like, it's so hard to find podcast guests, first of all. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to do it. I spent a whole day just emailing all these people, including you. And I was just on your show right before this. But Instagram DM is probably one of the ways that many people aren't taking advantage of. A lot of real estate agents don't have a large social media following, but they post a lot. And you can go and DM those people who have, 1,000, 5,000 followers, and they're going to see your DM, and most of them are going to reply more than an email, I would say.
Yep.
A lot of people think that email is just a scammy way, but if you, or, you can easily click the delete button, but when somebody, if you DM somebody, there's a way more likelihood that they're going to reply to you, especially if you're not just trying to sell them something up front. Be like, hey, here's a link to my podcast. Want to know if you want to get on a show sometime. I'd love to interview you and ask you some questions. I mean, many real estate agents are going to take that opportunity. And even if you just focus on real estate agents in your own local market, and now you have, your podcast is called San Francisco Bay Area Agent Interviews, and you just interview 500 agents. I mean, that's a podcast idea right there, and collecting information about what people are doing in your local market that's working or not working, stuff like that.
But I think you hit on a good point too, because every form of communication gets polluted, right? Like, in when we talk about real estate and we talk about getting started in real estate investing and all that other stuff, when we're getting started in real estate, whether it's as an agent or whether it's as a quote unquote investor, even though we don't have any money, whatever it is, we're really in marketing. Everything is about marketing to start. And so to understand marketing is super important. So as many real estate podcasts you should be listening to, you should also be listening to marketing podcasts, because real estate's an old business and there's a lot of people doing old ways of marketing. And if you can do new ways of marketing, you're going to set yourself apart. But you mentioned Instagram DMs, which is huge. Whenever we're trying to partner with a business, so we partner with the local businesses and incorporate them into our marketing as a way to expand, right? So if I can get the bakery that has, 18,000 followers to partner with me and do a video together, I can now get to steal their audience, right? So like I'm doing a podcast, you have a completely different audience than I do, and I'm hoping I'm going to steal some of your audience. They're going to come follow my stuff.
Hey.
But hey, look, I just had you on mine. You can do the same thing. Right? It's the cross-pollination of audiences. So I don't interview any local San Antonio real estate agents because they have the same audience. I have friends of mine that are very successful that I would have a great conversation with, but I'm in the business of growing my audience. So I find somebody that has a different audience than I do.
Love it.
Then I can cross-pollinate and get some of theirs. But like you said, email is crap, right? Even Facebook Messenger, I get polluted with like spammy Facebook Messenger stuff.
Yeah.
So Instagram right now, we will ruin it and it will get polluted at some point. But right now, Instagram DM is the best place to connect with people where you'll actually get responses.
Love it. And then so dive in more about you partnering up. I haven't heard that before. So you partnering up with local businesses, that sounds like a great way. Like, I wish I was in a market where I was investing, where I can do that kind of stuff. Because for me, like for the out-of-state real estate investor, it's very difficult. I mean, I have to be there. And I would even just go walk into places and be like, hey, I'm buying this apartment building. Can we do a partnership, and can you give free pizza to all my clients on this day for, or new clients who move in? Can you give them discount codes to use your laundromat instead of the other people? And because I like yours more. So there's a million things that you can do, but talk a little bit more about that for, a realtor who wants to grow their business, partnering up and making videos and content.
Yeah. So one, with Facebook, right? I mean, we talked about Instagram, but right now I really love Facebook as a platform to market on, because of some of the tools that are provided. I mean, Facebook owns Instagram too, so it's not like that much different. But what we do is, so if I have a listing, right, and I do a listing video, so many people will go in and do the cliche listing video and show the rooms and call it a day. One of my most recent listing videos. I start at a coffee shop downtown, and the listing's downtown. So I start a coffee shop downtown, and I get on a scooter because we just got the scooters in, right?
Yeah.
Like those just popped up in our city. And so I ride the scooter, and I keep getting distracted on my way to show the listing by all the little local places on the way. So like the popsicle shop, the coffee shop, the burger place, right? And so I'm on this scooter, and then I'm popping in, I'm grabbing a popsicle, I'm popping out, I'm getting back on the scooter. What happens is those businesses, I feature those businesses in my video, so they share my video. They're like, hey, look, we were just in this listing video, right? So I get buy-in from them. The Southtown Arts District, because this was in Southtown San Antonio, shared my video, right? And so I'm getting buy-in from local businesses. I'm giving them free advertising
and content.
Yeah. And so I'm giving them free content to share that advertises their place, and in turn, they're advertising my place. And so we're partnering up. And I remember, I had some people message me after, because I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's a really nice video. It's one of the more creative listing videos I think that I've seen. And people message me like, hey, how much did Steel City Pops pay to be in that video? I'm like, they didn't pay anything. Like, I don't have people pay me to be in these videos. And they're like, well, why are you making advertisements for them? I'm making advertisements for them because their people are going to see it. And what's important with Facebook is that I can retarget and remarket to people that watch my videos. And so now I've got 30,000 views on that video. Those are 30,000 people that watched me in a video that I can then put myself in front of again, and then put myself in front of again
for the next listing. Yeah.
Or 5 tips on buying a house, right? And so you start with like the entertaining local content. I did a thing on me getting a haircut at a cool barbershop, right? Nothing to do with real estate. It has nothing to do with real estate. It's local content with other businesses. But people will look at that content, and then once I hook them there, I get those viewers there. I'm growing my kind of viewer database. I can remarket to them with a little bit more real estate content.
Yeah.
Then I work them down the funnel. So it starts with local, fun, entertaining content. Then it starts with like local, fun, real estate content. And then it goes down to more like, this is how you buy a house, what you should think of when you're selling, that more bottom of the funnel real estate content. And then hopefully we get them to sign up, get the lead, and go.
I love that. So I watched a Gary Vee video one time, and he said kind of similar thing to what you're doing. He said, be the local real estate expert.
The local mayor.
The local mayor in your town.
So mayor,
so go to all, you said South San Antonio or something like that, Arts District.
Yes, yeah.
So like you can be, the South San Antonio mayor, and you can go and create, this is the best haircut place, and make a 3 or 5 minute video about you getting a haircut. You feature them. You tell them you're going to feature them. You tell them, hey, I'll send it to you, and could you share it with your audience too? I'm going to feature you on my Facebook kind of thing. But you can do that with everything. You can go to, this is the best slice of pizza in South San Antonio. This is the best sandwich, and they're all local places. You're not going to go to Subway and feature Subway, but so it works for certain neighborhoods, because there's neighborhoods too that I invest in that don't have big brands, but you can feature these smaller companies.
But be tactical with who you partner with. Right. There's going to be 3 coffee shops in town. Right. And one of them is going to have 40,000 followers on Instagram and Facebook page. Right. Yeah. And remember, you're going after their audience. That's why you're doing it. And so partner with these businesses in town that already have good social media followings for 2 reasons. One, you're going to steal their audience. 2, they're going to understand what you're doing more if they're already doing a lot of social. Yeah. And so find those people, partner with those people. Hey, I want to do a profile on your place. And then the next tactical thing I want to give you is Facebook business pages. You can cross-post videos between Facebook business pages. So you may have real estate investing business page. You may have San Francisco locals only business page. And then you may have San Francisco realtor business page. And so you make local content, you put it on your San Francisco locals only page. Has nothing to do with real estate. It's just local San Francisco stuff. You can cross-post to your realtor page and retain all the views, right? And it's the same video. You're just cross-posting it without reposting a new one. And you can repurpose the content a couple times. And that's one thing that we
Love it. Yeah, because then if you can get that video more views, then you can also boost those posts as well. So then you can do a Facebook boost, and it's going to find other people who are similar to the people who watched your videos. And, I was talking with a Facebook expert as well in terms of content, and he was like, make 3 videos, like, for example, go and make 3 videos like that, like we just talked about, and then whatever one of them is going to explode, and one of them is going to get 5,000 views, the others are going to get 500 and 1,000. Yeah. And he's like, then with the one with 5,000 views, just spend $100 and boost that post, or spend $50, whatever you can afford. And then, because that video already has 5,000 views, and now Instagram's automatically going to find people who are similar to the people who watch that. And now you have now you have 20, like you said, you had a video with 30,000 views or whatever. Now you have 30,000 people watching your video, who are getting to know more about you, and you're becoming that digital mayor for that town.
Yeah, and that's, we call that the unicorn theory, right? Like, put up a couple posts, and then you find your unicorn that does awesome. Then you put all your money behind that instead of splitting out the money across different ones. But what's cool about it is, when we talk about the different business pages, you can build a local page, right? Just a local page. And I'm partnering with other content creators locally. So instead of me posting all the content, I partner with some other people. So we are all posting content on this local page. And this is one I think there's not many people out there doing. So I think it's a fairly new tactic. So build a local page, have it to be nothing about real estate. But what happens is, when you post a video onto it, it has a bigger following because you're collaborating with other people. And then we talked about remarketing. You can remarket to those people from your real estate page that watched your video that's on the local page.
Got it.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, let me just reiterate then. So let's say you build, one of the neighborhoods in San Francisco is like the Mission District. So the Mission District, San Francisco, and then you go and you post 3 videos about certain places you really like in the Mission. Then you reach out to would you reach out to other real estate agents then too and be like, hey, this no?
No, I mean, like, I have my drone guy who's always making different local content.
Got it.
There's like a foodie blog person.
Got it. Okay.
I like them to be different industries. That way we're not stepping on each other.
Yeah. So you're the agent, and then you bring in a drone person, you bring in a food person, maybe
there's a car salesman that's doing a lot of social,
whatever
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And say, hey, come join our page, tell your audience about our page. And then all your audiences could come together and you share. Yeah. Or even an insurance guy, a finance guy, and they all make content too and have the same mentality.
The thesis is that people are less likely to follow my Tim Macy real estate agent page, right? Because they don't want like just to be bombarded with real estate content. But there's this local page that's just putting out local content. They're more likely to follow that. We can grow a bigger audience. And the whole thing, like you said, is about growing an audience, having attention. And so if you can make a bigger audience with a strictly local page, you can then retarget that with your business page.
Got it. Awesome. Love it. And now the one thing stopping people from making content is that they think way too much about it, and what to record with, and they want the T5i, the Canon, the whatever.
Right, okay, that's all you need.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I thought, and you just put the phone up to your face and record, right?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have some videos that are super high production, and they're crazy. But we do a ton of stuff with the cell phone. Like, you can make content with a cell phone. The content matters way more than the camera, right? Like, the content is what matters. And if you can make good content with your phone, then sure, maybe you upgrade and get a better camera. But if you can't make good content on your phone, you're not going to make good content with a more expensive camera. So don't have that as your thing. Like, you think you need to buy an expensive camera to make good content.
Yeah. Just because it looks prettier and it's more clear doesn't mean what you're saying changes.
Yeah, no.
Right. So because I post on Instagram all the time, and all I do is just use my phone, go to the Instagram app, and move it to the camera, and then I just record. And most of the time it's just a minute straight of me talking about a certain topic, or I'll flip the camera back and forth. But there's no cuts or no edits, and it's very, very real and very raw. But I think people appreciate that because now it doesn't look like an ad, right? So if you do have an expensive camera, an expensive shot that's super clear, people are gonna scroll down the video and say, "Oh, that looks like an ad." It looks like every other video out
exactly.
there.
right? Like we're programmed to avoid ads, right? So don't make ads.
Yep.
Make entertaining video. Like stop making advertisements because people hate them.
Yep.
But I want to go super tactical on one thing,
Okay.
because we're talking to people trying to get started in real estate investing. One tactic I would recommend is go to the networking events, find an investor, say, hey, look, I love to see your next deal. Like, let me get over to that next fixer upper, the next one you pick up. Or maybe you're talking to wholesalers and they're sending you a deal and you can't buy it, right? You don't have money. That's fine. But you know, hey, can I market it for you? Can I put it on Facebook? And go and do a Facebook Live at some disgusting, nasty fixer-upper, right? And just talk about how, hey, I'm at 123 Main Street. It's in Beacon Hill, and holy crap, look at this thing. It's missing a door. It doesn't have any windows. There's a cat carcass over here, right? Like that's entertaining content, and people are gonna watch it and comment on it.
I would watch that.
And then people are going to see you as a person who has their finger on the pulse of the market and has access to these off-market deals. And that's going to be something that generates relationships and calls and messages and DMs and everything else.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And
so do it like not you, but like if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I haven't been taking action, because that's what happens a lot. We get into analysis mode and you want to take one action this week, do that, find a wholesale deal, get permission to shoot some video at it, and do a Facebook Live at a disgusting house.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And you can also, that wholesaler too, be like, hey, I'll tag you in the post and I'll put your content. So it's just, dude, if I had somebody in Memphis who hit me up and said, hey, Antoine, let me know when all your rehabs and I'll go and do a live stream. Holy shit. I would be like, yeah, I'll pay you to go out there. And you're going to offer it for free. Because me as the out-of-state investor, and maybe that can be another twist on it too, you know, me as the out-of-state investor, I would love to have a content person. The issue is that I'm staring at this computer screen and, you know, I'm in Los Angeles and I can't create local content. But if there was somebody who was a real estate agent trying to get started, or local flipper who wanted to get involved in real estate and followed me on Instagram and wanted to reach out to do that content for me, you know, that's another that's another thing that somebody can do, and then it's going to help build their own business, because people are going to start to see, okay, this guy maybe these are not his projects, but he sure as hell knows a bunch of different people in the business, and you know, maybe he can market mine, and maybe we can start doing some deals together where he can manage my rehabs.
One of my guys bought one at an auction and is all boarded up and, you know, hadn't been in it. And he was like, hey, I just bought this house at auction. I was like, I want to go down there when you crack it open, right? Because those ones nobody's ever been in. You have no idea what's on the inside. You're just buying it on a drive-by. And so it was a Facebook Live. And I was like, hey, guys, we're at this house. Nobody's been in this thing for years. We're going to see what's inside.
Oh, man.
So we break in and just see all the crap that's in there. There were like old 40s. And I was like, oh, it's an old 40. Little did I realize it's like homeless people. I think were peeing in it because it was full. But it looked like a 40, you know? It went thousands of views, thousands of comments, people messaging me, hey, where's that house? Right? Like, it's just, that's the thing. That's the tactic. Do that. Find a house, do a Facebook Live at it, and see what happens.
Love it. Awesome. Well, we're close to an hour here. What is the best way? We talked a lot about social media marketing, and not so much about investing, but I think it was great. Is there any way people want to learn more about you, maybe want to ask you some more questions about real estate marketing, being a real estate agent, how to get started? What's the best way for them to come in contact?
If I'm doing my job right, I should be very easy to find, right? So if you Google Tim Macy, I should pop up. You check out the podcast, The Tim Macy Show. It's a Facebook Live page, so it's on Facebook as well. And then, you can find my Facebook profile too, Tim Macy. And man, I'm in that inbox all the time, so shoot me a message.
Love it. Yeah, and then if you guys want to reach out to me, you can also see me on the Tim Macy Show. I just did it today, so you guys can go and check that out as well. And if you guys want to reach out to me, again, you can shoot me an email or go to the website, martelturnkey.com. My Instagram is Martel Antoine on Instagram. I reply to everybody's DM. So thanks again for coming on the show, Tim. It was great to have you. Really somebody who knows about social media marketing and really an expert in that space. So I'm glad I even learned some things too.
My one other plug, we have a Facebook group called RE Space TV, RETV, Real Estate TV. And it's a Facebook group. We got thousands of agents in there. If you join that, there's a bunch of questions like, are you an agent? If you're not an agent, but you're listening to this podcast and you're trying to get investments, just put in there, Tim Macy invited me, said I should join, and we'll get you in.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for that. People go join that if you're a real estate agent or if you're not. But thanks for coming on the show. It's great to have you. And I'll let you know when it's live. And thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it, man. I'll be listening.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks.